Alright, OLR exclusive fans, we are live with Brockville Zone, one half of an amazing tag team that's actually from our hometown of Brockville. Sideshow Jack of Freak Nation, how you doing tonight? Today,
Doing awesome, man. Doing awesome. Thank you for having me on here. This is gonna be fun.
man, it's an absolute honor, man. I remember originally seeing you back when you were Kid Cash, but I have that question in the lineup as well, so we're going to take a trip down
Awesome.
memory lane today.
Nice.
So I have to ask, what made you decide to get into wrestling?
Pretty much, I'd say like with any pro wrestler in the industry today, you grow up as a fan of it, watching it on TV as a kid. You know what I mean? Watching it with your grandparents or your mom and dad. And like I remember so much growing up. Me and my brother, we always watched wrestling. Monday Night Raw or WCW or ECW. We watched it all. You know what I mean? And just. Yeah, you always have that thought in the back of your head because these are those bigger-than-life superstars or heroes, you know what I mean? And everybody looks up to your heroes, and you want to be your heroes, and I think that's where it comes down to anybody. We all have our select ones that made an impact on our lives growing up and watching that inspired us to step into the ring. Like, even just like two big examples for me would be Roddy Piper and The Undertaker. They were two guys for me that always stood out, and like Ric Flair again too, because like obviously too they had the persona of the look. They stood out. They were bigger than life instead of just generic in a pair of tights go out there and fight. And then you get to the point where okay, you find everybody likes to jump around the backyard, so to say, and your kids throwing each other on like a bad mattress, trying to imitate our heroes, and then you get to the point where it's like you want to take that next step. And I was very fortunate to get introduced to that world, on especially the independent scene, through Alan Irish Taylor with UWA, Universal Wrestling Alliance, back in the day, run by Dave Dalton. And that's where I got a really good taste of seeing the independent scene. And then also getting introduced to the Joker's Wild, Eric and Martin Carpentier. They were also big influence for me growing up, because like we all see the bigger than life on TV of the WWF or at the time WWE or WCW, but there's such a whole more world to it out there that I didn't know about, which was the independent scene. And then being introduced to that, it just life changing from there, and here we are.
And I have to say, I've been to a lot of your shows. I've seen you and Taylor wrestle. I've seen you back when you were just doing your solo wrestling bits, and you're a tremendous wrestler, man. And I'm not just hyping you up because you're on my show. I'm actually saying you're a really great wrestler, man.
Thank you.
Your gimmick, man, Freak Nation. What's the inspiration behind that gimmick, man? Because you and Taylor have such amazing chemistry together. What is the inspiration behind that gimmick?
Freak Nation came along in just an idea of, at the time when obviously I was doing Jimmy Cash, and I got to the point where I'm just kind of like, I want something a little fresh. I've been doing that since I started at the age of 15, 16, and I'm like, I've been doing that for so long, and then 2013, in around there, we started kind of getting these ideas, maybe I'm going to switch, maybe I should do something different here, because Taylor already had, that look. You know what I mean? He was, with his persona already, and it's kind of like, how do I now get to that kind of transformation or try and relate in some kind of a way? And it was always just a character in the back of my mind, even just way back when I even first started, just something, because once again, I always liked the more colorful and bigger than life superstars, even like your Demolition, your face painted, warrior and stuff like that. Just the gimmick and the colorful gimmicks. And then kind of started piecing things together. Okay, what if I take a bit of this? Big inspiration would be Devil's Rejects, House of Thousand Corpses, big inspiration for us. Rob Zombie's films there, especially for me, Captain Spaulding, Sid Haig, God bless him and rest in peace. Just amazing character that he brought to life on camera, and I was able to really kind of take that inspiration from his character, even though this is his persona, and kind of fit that into traits of my own kind of deal. And then another big kind of inspiration, because that's when, everything with pro wrestling, it's all inspiration. Like everything down to the gimmick, to the way you move, the way you walk, everybody's got a trait of somebody. You know what I mean? Whether it be a public figure, celebrity figure, of another wrestler figure, you know, there's all these different personalities that we all take, and including our own personalities. You know, and we all try to take bits and parts of all that and mold it into something of a character, of a gimmick. And, you know, and also taken for the freaks, around the time in 2013, 14, American Horror Story was big for their freak show around that time. And we figured around that time, too, it's kind of like, here's something that's very relevant, something we can relate to. And I'm like, here's more inspiration that we can kind of maybe just mold and fit into here, just these different ideas on what we can bring to it, you know. And obviously, too, a good go-getter, too. Obviously, Joker persona, you know what I mean? A lot of little traits in there, too. You know, and then you take inspiration from my own personal inspiration and how I like to put my own little attitude into it, you know, and then we mold that basically into the Freak Nation, you know. And even as you get going, too, even, you know, you don't figure yourself out right away, you know, overnight. Even as you start performing even more and more out there, you kind of start developing even more and more in who you are and finding out more who you are. You know, and then you find the right groove for you that suits you, and that feels natural, too. Because the one thing, too, you want it to feel natural. The worst is when it doesn't feel organic, it doesn't feel natural at all. It just feels too scripted or too put on. You know, you want to give it that natural feel to the audience and to the fans for the, you know, that it's believable and they can feel that belief too.
And I also have to ask, the most recent show that I've seen you and Taylor at, you guys went heel. I have to ask, why the heel turn?
It's not much of I can't really say it's much of a heel turn. It's a bit of a neutral, a bit in between, because we still get that reaction. We were just kind of playing, I think, trying a little bit something new, of a little bit of freaks with attitude, so to say, to put that in there. Just a little bit of trying, like, let's get maybe, do we go a little edgy? Can we try some little bit things out? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just experiment, so to say, you know what I mean? I just think we just had a little bit more to give that we wanted to try and put out there for that, you know?
I can't remember exactly what event it was. I don't know if it was the most recent Brockville one or it was Chinlock 5. I remember everybody was booing you guys. I was the only one actually cheering. I had one person ask me, why are you cheering for Freak Nation? And I was like, well, I'm from Brockville. So it's like, whether they're a-holes in the ring or not, they're Brockville's own. I have to cheer for where I'm from. You know what I mean?
Yeah, cheer for the homeboys.
They have to. And they're like, well, they're just walk past us, not shaking hands. I'm like, whatever, dude, it's wrestling. If they don't want to shake your hand, who cares? Like, you know?
Exactly. Well, there's a good example, though. That's kind of the times we're in. It's not all about, well, everybody loves a good villain. You know what I mean? Everybody cheers for the villains just as much as they cheer for the heroes now. You know, we're in a time where it's like it's accepted, because we're all about, if it's entertaining for us and it does something for us or gives us a reaction of some sort, they're going to cheer for it, whether you're the good guy or the bad guy. You know, even for me, I just like, my inspirations, who I cheered for back in the day, were villains to begin with. Undertaker, Roddy Piper, and Ric Flair. They were always the heel, you know, when they first got introduced. And, like, that was my inspirations, and I cheered for them all the time. You know, because everybody loves a good villain, you know, because villains, as much as the heroes, are just as more colorful and over the top, just as much as the hero.
I agree with that. See, when I was younger as well, like, I used to watch all kinds of wrestling, and I always took to the villain as well, like Ric Flair, you know? He's sometimes nice, but at the end of the day, he's gonna screw you over. And then I was also a huge Randy Orton fan. I loved his, like, legend killer phase, man. I wish he'd go back to that.
Yeah, exactly. And there's Randy's prime example. He can go back and forth. You know what I mean? He's done face, he's done heel, you know what I mean? But he still has the family. Even when he's heel, he still gets he's been around long enough, you have that following regardless, whether you're heel or not. You know, and I feel that's where like a lot of guys have trouble doing those switches in the ring, especially when they try and force it upon you. Like, get out there, you're supposed to be the heel now, you're not the baby face anymore, or vice versa. Once you're in it long enough in the industry, the fans like you. They don't care if you're a good guy or bad. They just love seeing you perform and get out there and do your thing. You know, and they're going to cheer for you regardless.
And that is most definitely true. And also, outside of the ring, you also are the creator of a wrestling company called PCW. What made you decide to create that promotion? And I have to ask, when is the next show?
A lot of it where it started with Alan Irish Taylor back in the day when he first started got a training. He came with the initial idea of like he wanted to start his own promotion, and then a lot of us at the time were involved with it, and I was basically the right hand man for helping getting that going from the get go with PCW, and that's been around. You know, we had a hiatus there for the last few years there, but back in like mid 2000s, you know, we had a good run with the PCW and around the areas in Brockville and stuff. You know, and it's been something. Well, it means so much to us too, because like once again, you become a pro wrestler, and then there's so many aspects of pro wrestling to still learn about. And one of them for me was like I want to learn, you know, how to promote. You know, how does more behind the scenes work? How does this go together? Right down to like advertisements, putting storyline, creativity, promoting the shows. You know, getting out there and like sponsorships. You know what I mean? Getting to meet the fans. You know, getting to meet the local people in the areas, surrounding areas. You know, there's so much more to pro wrestling to just, you know, stepping in the ring for some guys. You know, and that's where the beauty of pro wrestling, you know, there's so many different duties and places you can go with it instead of just being a pro wrestler, you know. There's so much more that you can do. And PCW is just, you know, it's been, you know, really close to my heart over the years, you know, and a lot of the other guys that are even involved right now with us, Sean McMillan, Matthew Oliveira, Ryan Lawrence, really great guys. They've been around the industry too for a good chunk of years now. They've learned so much. Very talented group. Everybody always brings, you know, something. See, there's a good thing too to have good groups of people like that too, and surround yourself with. Everybody brings a little bit of something to the table, you know, that makes the wheel go round. You know, especially with PCW. You know, but PCW in the new coming year though, big news coming for 2020. But I can't really give too much away as a lot of it hasn't been signed or on the dotted line. But I do know there's going to be a lot of cool things coming from the PCW crew. They got a lot of things on the go. Like even right now, like Ryan Lawrence and Alan Irish are doing some talks with a lot of cool things right now. I can't really say too much, but I know they got a lot of cool things planned to come up for PCW in the new year here.
Is there any, like, I gotta ask this, like, is there any talks, like, obviously not for sure yet, but is there any talks of a Brockville show soon?
That's what they're in talks with right now. Like I said, I can't give too much because until the dotted lines are all signed, kind of deal.
That's completely fine.
But yeah, absolutely though. Just keep an eye out for PCW in 2020 though here in the new year, and hopefully early enough too. So we'll get that. But in the meantime, if you need some wrestling fix though, we got Chinlock coming up. They got a good show coming up next weekend too with a lot of their new students, which is kind of cool.
Oh yeah.
It's like a little show they got going on. It's just to introduce basically the upcoming new talent that has been trained. You know, and they got a really cool little group of guys. I got to meet a lot of them just even at prior shows this past year, and a lot of them with a lot of good passion, and a lot of them, you know, hungry to get out there and make a name for themselves and get some pro wrestling in.
Do you know where like that show is? Like, would you be able to let our listeners know about that?
Yeah, that is at the Wild Wings in Napanee. It's above where their school is. It's above the restaurant, and that's where they do little kind of like house show style stuff. We've done a couple little shows there, and with them, and they got the school going on here with all their students that they're going to be performing with, and also with the students, they got some of the talent of today and the upcoming talent versus each other. So that's going to be very interesting to see how that pans out for the new students here.
Yeah, that actually sounds very interesting. But before we get
Yeah.
off the PCW topic, I have to say this. When I was younger, my very first wrestling show I ever went to was PCW because when I was a young kid,
Oh, nice.
I grew up in group homes and shit, so I wasn't allowed to like watch wrestling back in the day. So when I
Mhm.
got out and I was old enough, when I was 17, my first show was PCW. It's back when you were Kid Cash. I forget who it was, but I met some wrestlers. The first wrestler I ever met, his name was like Major or something like that. He was from right across the border. Forget his name.
Um,
He was like an army dude. Like, yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue as well.
yeah. Oh man, a lot of army dude. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, we're just going back a while.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true. But yeah, see, well, that's the one thing too. You know, so many guys you come and go in the industry and that you meet. You know, but no, that was a brothel show too. That's awesome.
yeah, I think that was the last PCW show before you guys went on hiatus. It was at the Brockville Legion.
Okay, yeah. Was it Brockville the Prescott?
Brockville one actually.
Okay. Yeah. Oh no, that's right. Yeah, sorry, the Halloween one. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Awesome. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that was the last time we were there. Yeah, me and Taylor, we were actually. That's funny because we were obviously tagging around that time too. We were the TNC.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we weren't. But yeah.
I think I have to go back through my old Facebook. Would have a video of actually you guys, and I remember you guys clubbed some guy with a chair, and he actually got like it was like a botch. He ended up like not actually falling when he got hit with the chair.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I remember watching it. This is going back years, and I was like, okay, that's cool.
Oh yeah.
I have to ask.
In those moments sometimes.
Well, we're back in the old days. This is my next question. Back then you were wrestling as Kid Cash. That's when I first.
Jimmy Cash though.
Oh,
Jimmy Cash. I never really went with the kid. I always tried to keep like Jimmy Cash. I was the kid though, because I was a young kid at the time. You know, here I was like 15, 16. You know, getting bookings. You know, especially on shows. You know, you had to be 18 on a lot of shows. You know, or at least have consignment from or signed from your parents or something like that. But I always looked older. I always had like facial hair, so a lot of the times I never really, I'm here to work. I'm ready to go. You know.
Yeah, they probably just didn't even really care. They're like, all right, you got facial hair, you're old enough. Oh, but
yeah, he looks old enough. He's good to go. Yeah.
Jimmy Cash, how did like that persona come to be? I have to ask that.
Definitely being a big fan of Johnny Cash. You know, always loved the music. You know what I mean? That was always something. Once again, taking that inspiration. You know what I mean? And taking inspiration. I love music, rock and roll. Once again, you just kind of mold a little bit. You know, take a little bit. I was a fan of a lot of Martin Scorsese films. You know, taking a little bit of those kind of with a little gangster mixed into there. You know, once again, and taking my own personality. You know, put the mold together again, and what came out was Jimmy Cash.
And also, you and Taylor were a part of Great North Wrestling. I don't know if this will be a controversial topic. If you want to skip it, you can. I remember I went to Cage Wars 2, and I thought you guys were going to be there, and I didn't see the PCW trailer like you guys normally have with you.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, I asked Hannibal, where's Freak Nation? He actually just said, like, they're not here. And he kind of got pissed off and walked away. Like, I gotta ask, what made you guys jump ship from GNW to Chinlock?
Well, Chinlock, we've always been a part of Chinlock since day one and big supporters of Chinlock since day one, especially with Justin Kuzno and Jan Murphy. Justin Kuzno, again, we go back way, way back. Even when I first broke into the industry, that's how long we've been good friends with them. And GNW, we had a great time in GNW. You know, we did a lot of fun times in there. It gave us a platform to perform on, gave us a platform to, to perform as the freaks there and everything. Sometimes in the industry, it just comes down to differences it can come down to just differences on where you work sometimes. Some promoters don't like supporting other companies, while other companies very much like to help and support other companies in the surrounding area. You know, I don't want to say a like territory thing by any means, but like there are some people who I guess still even today do take kind of like, well, if you're working for that company, I don't like you working for this company anymore. You know?
Yeah, it's almost like Vince McMahon Sr., like back in like the 50s and 60s type thing.
Well, yeah, it's just, but we live in times now, especially in the industry, where it's like support, one another. You know what I mean? Everybody's been
together and help each other. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, you
to
achieve the same thing. You
like
wrestling.
Well, yeah, like there's especially I can find on the independent scene too on stuff like that. But then also too, I do also see the side where competition is good. You know what I mean? Especially with certain companies. There are companies who obviously that do have bigger platforms out there in the world, and obviously like, here you got Impact going, you got WWE going, you got AWE going, you got NWA going. There's a lot of big platform companies on TV right now. But it's good because it gives opportunities for everybody. And once again, even though I'm sure some people behind the scenes don't agree with the other companies and how they run things or just their product overall, it's, everybody still involved is still involved in wrestling and still working, which is cool. You know what I mean? Because even if you don't work there, there's somewhere else to still go. You still got options everywhere. You know what I mean? But just being light on the G&W thing, like I said, we had a lot of good times there. We were never booked on that Brockville show. Like, we were told, they told us, like, we were the ones that were let go from there. Like, we didn't walk away. But it is what it is, though.
Well, I'm honestly glad you guys are doing the whole Chinlock thing because I love Chinlock. You guys put on some really great events.
They got a great thing going. They're so
Chinlock 5, unfortunately, though. But speaking of Chinlock 5, when we're on that, you guys got to wrestle there, man. Freak Nation in front of thousands of like crazed wrestling fans. What was it like wrestling at the Leon Center in Kingston, Ontario?
That was cool, man. Like, I remember that morning because like we went up the night before. Because we had the ring rental. So me, Taylor, and Big Shug, Sean McMillan there, us three went up the night before. And, like, we didn't suspect what we were going to walk into. Like, we knew we're doing the Leon Center. This is going to be fun. It's cool. It's Leon Center, one the biggest venue in Kingston, in the surrounding area. So, like, this is going to be cool. But then we walked in that morning, and then we see, like, the setup. You know what I mean? Once we saw the setup, it's like, wow, this is even bigger. You know what I mean? This is even bigger than our expectations of what we thought. So yeah, nerves were up that day, that's for sure, but good nerves, though, and excitement, though. You know what I mean? Especially during the day, just getting to meet everybody, because we did the convention during the day, and we set up the Freak table, and we had our setup over going with the other legends and stuff, like Tommy Dreamer and Mark Henry, Jimmy Hart, Billy Gunn, Tugboat, Tully Blanchard, and all the rest of them there. That was a really cool day. It was definitely memorable, overwhelming too, and very humble. Like even the fans were just amazing. The ones that came through all day, because like even during the day, like hundreds piled through the convention, and just everybody had a ball, and everybody smiles on faces, right, left, and center. That's the payoff for the day. Seeing that.
Oh, I have to ask, man, what's your favorite legend you met that day?
My favorite legend for me would have to be Jimmy Hart. I love it because, once again, as much as he had all these other legends there, great. Like, we got to talk with Mark Henry a lot, and we got to talk with Jimmy Hart a lot. But my favorite would have to be Jimmy Hart, and that was one I was looking forward to. It was kind of a funny thing because, like, I didn't get a chance to really go over because, like, as soon as we got there, the legends, a lot of them were coming in, they're setting up, a lot of the guys, and we're setting up the ring at the same time, so we're just kind of like, we're rushing, because, like, it was just a lot going on there. We're a little behind, too, getting everything all set up. So we really didn't get a chance to really run over quick and just kind of, like, pay our dues and just say hi and introduce ourselves and whatnot. And then it wasn't until, I think it was before the show at night started, or it was like just before or after the convention, or a couple hours before the show was starting, and I'm just walking through the back, and one of the guys was cleaning Jimmy Hart's coat off there. They were just giving some clean touches on it or something like that. because he had it on, I think, all day there, and it's making him look fresh for the night.
Yeah.
But it was just funny because, like, I just stopped for a moment as I was passing by, and I'm just like, oh, this is cool. There's Jimmy Hart, one of his famous ring jackets, right? And then right at the moment, he was walking up to me. He's like, hey there, brother, how's it going, man? Jimmy Hart coming on up, and just a really, really great guy to talk to, and gave a lot of great advice just on the industry, and was one of the greatest compliments I can actually say in this whole entire industry, and from any professional in the industry that I've ever been given, was from Jimmy Hart that day. He just, without a doubt, said, I was thoroughly impressed, he said, by just watching and how we interacted with the fans, how we carried ourselves, just everything that we were doing, from what he said, he saw, he felt was right, and just having that kind of compliment, like, to me, couldn't have been any better, you know what I mean? Because, like, Jimmy Hart's been around a lot of different eras in wrestling. He's been a part of so many different generations in wrestling. He's seen it all. He's managed some of the best gimmicks in professional wrestlers in the world, But having that moment with them, though, because even after that, I had to go and get Taylor. I'm like, man, like, you gotta go and say hey to Jimmy Hart here. He wants to meet us here. He wants to meet you. But just a really stand-up guy, and just really humble, and some of the greatest advice I've ever been given in compliments from Jimmy Hart, Mouth of the South.
Oh, hell yeah, Mouth of the South, man. That's what's probably would have been such an amazing experience just for here to you guys, because you grew up watching an individual like him, so you actually got to get, compliments and from one of the guys who I was growing up. Like, that must have been fucking, excuse my language, mind-blowing for you, man.
No, absolutely, man. No, it definitely was, and things like that, and especially in the industry, it helps build that confidence, too, for you. Because just having that, it's like, you're at least on the right track with what you're doing, you're doing something right.
And speaking of being on the right track, man, and also gotten to at least meet people, you also worked a lot of different events, all over Ontario, all over Canada. Who is your favorite wrestler that you had the pleasure of being in the ring with, like got to wrestle with?
Oh, God.
You could pick a few, too. I'm pretty sure I made that one very difficult.
Well, I have to go, obviously, too, just to throw it out. Obviously, some of the greatest, honestly, funnest matches I've ever had, and on an independent level, and he's done so much work, too, even back in the day. He's even done gimmick work for, or he's done work for TNA back in the day. Sean McMillan. You know what I mean? He's wrestled everywhere back in the day. He got in the industry around in the 90s, late 90s, and he's been around for a long, long time, and he's traveled like in the U.S. and in Canada. He's worked for a lot of respectable companies, but like even once again in the industry, when I first started getting my feet wet, he was one of the guys that was really, really like inspiring to me, because he was really like Sean loves everybody. Big Shug, he loves everybody, and he made sure that I felt comfortable in the wrestling world, and just advice, whether it be do this or that, and I remember watching him in UWA. For Universal Wrestling Alliance for Dave Dalton, and just watching his in work and his charisma and his energy times 1,000 when he's in the ring, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he taught me a lot, and it inspired me a lot, and I've had a lot of good matches. I remember my first time I ever worked for him was SBW, and I was nervous as hell, because obviously I'm like, wow, I finally get time to work with Sean here. This is going to be cool. You know what I mean? And I was nervous. It went good. It obviously had its moments in there, but once again, though, he gave good compliment after and praised me, and I've had a lot of fun matches with him. Me and him, anytime we've ever had to work, it's pretty much see you out there. You know what I mean? When music hits, cool, I'll see you out there. See you out there. That's all we have to do. You know what I mean? That's all I ever have to do with that guy. Taylor, even just going on that level again, like, he's obviously a huge inspiration because, like, we've wrestled everywhere from Timbuktu, from Canada to America, you know what I mean, all over. Many matches. Some of our greatest matches were back in the OCW when we feuded with each other. When he, near the end there, we did a lot of cool stories there and had a lot of fun, good matches. Another obviously one that I have to just say was Demolition, Axe and Smash. Like, you know, when we look at tag team wrestling in our industry, they're at the top of the list, right?
Oh, most definitely.
You know what I mean? And it was a fun match we had with them. It was fun. You know what I mean? We got to do a lot. It was a cool moment with them that we kind of got to do. Because once again, about giving that organic realism of making it a bit natural feeling out there, we kind of went like that into it. And, you know, they just kind of, you know, they knew our stature because they're obviously in our hometown kind of in a way too. Kingston, that's just as, you know, Brockville's our hometown, but Kingston's just as much too, right?
Yeah, it's only like 45-minute drive, if that. There's like if there's something you need in Brockville that the Walmart don't have,
yeah,
you're going to Kingston to get it, you know?
Yeah, and we got a lot of great fans up in Kingston too, man. And obviously Axe and Smash, it was weird as much as they're, you know, are the big, you know, heroes of it all. We got that reaction going into it, and they knew that, you know, prior coming into the match, and it was just kind of like we went into it just a little organic, and like we're gonna let the fans decide tonight who they want, and that was fun. That was interesting. Very, very different. Never worked like just having how it went. It was very inspiring. Never got to go about it really like that before, you know. And like one of the greatest things they ever said too was, once again, you know, just on advice and that's what this whole pro wrestling is really about, is the story. You know, tell the story when you're out there. You know what I mean? Because like, you know, we're telling a physical story. You know what I mean? And we gotta tell it that till it makes sense, and that the fans at least react to it in a positive way, to the point where they don't understand it. You know, because you can get guys, you know, you can go out there, you can hit 100 moves all you want, and flips and flops. You know, you may get a reaction or you may not, but you tell a nice, good story in there with them, and the fans, they'll pick up on that, and they'll follow that story from start to finish.
Oh, for most definitely. And I have to ask this. What's next for Freak Nation and yourself? Any events coming up other than PCW? Like, what's next for you guys?
Well, Chinlock, we got... Taylor's going to be going one-on-one, I think, with... I don't know if it's one of the students next weekend or one of the other boys next weekend for the student show, but I think I'm just going to be laying low for that one. I think I'm going to be coming out with them and cheerleading for that one. I'm going to cheer him on for that one.
You're going to be the Taylor's manager, right?
Yeah, we got to support. We got to support sometimes. And then we got Chinlock coming up on Saturday, February 1st, 2020 at 6 p.m. And that is going to be Battle at the Brewery 2. Now, they're just getting all that in the works. That's going on right now, but I can tell you right now, you know, freaks will be there, and who knows what will happen.
Do you know how much tickets will be?
I don't have that written down. I want to say they're 10 to 15, I think. I could be wrong, but I know they're in around there. I think they got packs too. But check it out on Facebook. Anybody that's out there, Chinlock, Battle at the Brewery 2. All updates are coming up. They got Madison Ryan from Impact coming in. A lot of your Chinlock superstars are going to be there, the regular boys. You know, you got Taylor and myself are going to be there. I'm sure Big Shug will be. You got Jan Murphy, I'm sure, will be there with some announcements to greet the fans. You know what I mean? And we got CJ Felony, which I wasn't at the last show, but I saw what happened at the last show, though, with CJ Felony, and he's now the Chinlock champion, so I don't know how he sneaked that one out, but I'm sure at the next show he'll have an explanation for it, and we'll see how where his story takes him next, you know?
That's pretty good,
Jesse
though.
Mack.
It's like, he honestly, he deserves that title, you know? He's a heel, but
Absolutely.
realistically, like, if you actually look at his wrestling talent and his skill and his grind, he's been
But do it
grinding,
clean.
man. He deserves that.
Do it clean, Felony. Do it clean. Be a man and do it the right way, though. You know? You got Jesse Mack. She's the Kayla Murphy champion right now, too. Another championship switch in there, too. So there's a lot of exciting things going on in Chinlock right now. Things are getting shook up, you know. So definitely I can balance the brewery, too, here. I'm pretty sure there'll be some interesting things going down.
Honestly, I'm going to say that should be on a little event name, the Chinlock Shake-Up. You know what I mean?
The Chinlock Shake-Up.
That sounds pretty
Shake down at the brewery. It's going down.
Oh, hell yeah. So I have to say, John, or Sideshow Jack, I should say.
Yeah.
So this is the time in the interview where I let the person that comes on the show a chance to give shout-outs or whoever they want to give shout-outs to, and also the social media handles. Also, can you provide the PCW social media handles as well? That way people can follow you and PCW and follow any up-and-coming events.
Absolutely. Let's check it out. PCW. Just follow us on Facebook. All of our, I think we've got Twitter rocking too. You can catch all of our updates on it. What's going on? New talents, appearances, convention appearances. What the freaks are up to. What the other boys are up to. We got Chinlock. Once again, follow their social media. Check their websites out. Again, once again, too, with Chinlock, they're associated with so many great charities in Kingston. One of their biggest sponsors, too, Gino's Pizza. If you haven't been at Gino's Pizza, get out there, get your pizza. Some of the best pizza I can tell you I've ever had in my life. Great food. Also, if you want to check out what I'm doing more, too, I got some cool movies coming up. We got Butchers coming out in at the end of the year, or possibly next year. We got The Nights Before Christmas. It's a Christmas horror film that was just in the Blood and the Snow Film Festival this weekend in Toronto. It's about a murderous Santa and Mrs. Claus going on a murderous rampage with the FBI. And I had the privilege of working on that one, doing some effects for it, and playing FBI in it. And also check out Age of the Living Dead, another great TV show that's coming up. It's season 1 right now. It's on Amazon Prime in Canada, also Amazon Prime in the U.S. If you like vampires and you like the human race and you want vampires to attack the human race, or you want the human race to attack vampires, check that show out. Really great. I got to work on season 2. Got to do a lot of great work for it. Got to be a blood-sucking vampire, so when season 2 hits, look for yours truly in there kicking some butt.
Sideshow Jack the Bloodsucker. All right, I'm actually for that, man. The one at the Toronto Film Festival, will that be available to the public to see as well?
Yeah, they just had their world premiere last night, actually, in that, and they're going to be, it should be out, possibly, keep an eye out in the coming year here for DVD and Blu-ray. It should be out.
Oh, I'm down with that. So that's the one you played the FBI agent in, correct?
Yep, Nights Before Christmas. Give it a watch. It's there's a part 1 to it, too, so this was kind of the sequel that they made, and it's by Simon Phillips and Paul Tanner. Great group of guys to work with. They do a lot of great work in the film industry in Canada and all over. And they're also responsible, too, for Age of the Living Dead. That's one of their productions as well. So give them a watch, support it. Really great stuff, folks.
I'm not big on horror movies, but I will give it a watch, and hopefully I don't get nightmares, but it is what it is. It'll be worth it, truthfully. Is there anybody you want to give shout-outs to while we're still on?
Shout out to definitely the PCW boys. Let's give shout out to Taylor. Taylor will hopefully too send in regards. He's gonna hopefully get on here. We can definitely both do another show if you're up for it. We'd love to come on again. Shout out to RJ, Maddie, Big Shug. We got CJ Felony. We got Jan Murphy. Shout out to the boys down also at Seaway Valley Wrestling down in Cornwall, Ryan DeRoche and all of them. If you haven't been down there, folks, too, Seaway Valley Wrestling down in Cornwall. Give them a watch. They are awesome. We've done some work for them, and we're also looking to go back there. But if you're down in the Cornwall area, Seaway Valley Wrestling, give it a check out, folks. Awesome stuff.
Oh, hell yeah. I gotta say, Sideshow, thank you so much for coming
Hey,
up.
thank you, man.
Pardon?
I said thank you, man. This is awesome.
Hey, man, you're most certainly welcome, man. I've been a fan of you guys for a long time, so just the fact that I get to have you on my platform is an absolute honor, man. So I want to say, Sideshow, thank you so much for coming up on Outlaw Radio Live. It is an absolute honor and a privilege. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Have yourself a wonderful day, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you at the next wrestling event.
Absolutely, man. We'll see you there. You know the freaks will be there, man.
Oh, most definitely. And you know I will be there right in the house, front and center, like always.
Alrighty, brother. Awesome.
Talk to you later, bro.
Talk to you later.